The following opinions are 99% factual.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings.
In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex.
And my mic is now unmuted. All right, Average Joe's Friday, October 18th, 2019, the year of our Lord. Welcome. We are in Dayton, Ohio, the United States of America, planet Earth, in the Milky Way galaxy. As always, I am joined by Mr. Merle Cox, and I am your host, I guess, Nathaniel Manier. And we are joined today by my friend Poppy, who finally was able to squeeze me into his incredibly busy schedule because he's such an important human being. So, Poppy, thank you for joining us, sir. How you doing?
Good, man. I think that's some of the best things anyone in America has ever said about me.
That was what was that? I'm sorry. Merle had a horribly timed round of applause.
I said that's some of the nicest things anyone in America has said about me.
Wow, man. Well, you're important to me and you're important to others. So I understand, man. We're just happy and we're gracious that you're here giving us a little bit of your time and your love and affection.
And my goatee.
And your goatee, man. That's I was telling Poppy that's that Doc Holliday right there. And and apparently I am a daisy because I did. And so now I'm here with Pop and Merle. We came on a little bit earlier and we're gonna have a little bit shorter episode because the Ohio State Buckeyes played tonight against Northwestern, the nerds of the Midwest. So we're gonna bust out a quick episode, and thank you for joining us. Merle, are you excited for the Buckeyes game?
Oh man, look, we're 6-0 and we're playing a 1-4 team. This is where I get scared though, Nate, right? We had a week off. There are some injuries, right? We're beat up a little bit. I guess we practiced a little too hard. So, Northwestern's got nothing to lose. So these games always scare me, but I think, my boy Fields is going to pull it out. He's going to lead us down the field. And it's going to be a huge victory.
Did you do that on purpose? The field's going to lead us down the field.
Yeah, well, I just want to see if the smart people were tracking. So
okay, well,
okay,
maybe we were. Poppy, are you? What do you think about the Buckeye season so far? Are you impressed? Are you excited? Do you think we can take this all the way?
So I'm going to be the outlier, obviously wearing the Great Bengals shirt. I am happy with the season. I think they definitely deserve more than the 4 seed, but I don't get excited about these types of games. It's like watching the Patriots play the Bengals. It's like you already know the outcome.
Right.
I like watching the ranked games. I'll still watch it. It'll be fun. I like the butt whooping. But I am excited to see how far the Buckeyes will go this year. I think they have the potential to do some big things.
Oh yes, we're going to take the championship, and when we do, I will be gracious. I won't humble. I won't brag. I won't make fun of my Michigan friends. Do what?
I don't think that's true. I think you will do all of those things.
I will absolutely do those things. I will order things on Amazon and have them shipped to my friends' houses and. I don't know, man. I have a few Michigan fans that I just feel bad for them in the most sincere way possible. So that's the only thing sincere about it.
I don't feel bad. I'm not one that wants Michigan to do well just so that when Ohio State plays them, it's going to be a good battle. I want Michigan to lose every single game in a terrible way.
I hate it when I hear Ohio State fans, oh, well, we want Michigan to be good because, we need to play them when they're a higher rank, so it helps us. No, lose every single game. I want not a famine of victory, but If Michigan were the Israelites wondering for 40 years looking for a win, I wouldn't feel bad.
Oh my God.
You did not just reference a Bible, the Bible.
Yeah, it's the Bible, like the Ohio State.
Hey, Bible.
Yeah, it ain't no a Bible, bro. Okay, so we'll kind of stick with a sports theme real quick. We had LeBron James bow to his communist overlords this week, as he, came out like a little punk. He's super social more than an athlete, but when it come down to it, and his dollars were about to be affected, his tennis shoes said no, we need that cash. And Michael Jordan was famous. They asked him, why he never got political. And it's the famous quote. He said, because Republicans buy sneakers too. And Michael Jordan was smart enough not to get involved and open his mouth and stupid things like that. So LeBron, when they asked him about it, he said, because Chinese communists buy sneakers too. That should have been his response, and that would have been hilarious. But instead, he took the just backpedaling, democracy's overrated. I want my money. So, as always, we were discussing this earlier. I was right on the LeBron James front. He's not a good human being. He opens us. No, I almost said something really mean, and I'm not going to do that. So yes, LeBron's a bum. Poppy, what did you think about LeBron? As soon as his opinions and his views on justice were going to be impacted, he kind of bowed down to Nike.
So, again, this is going to sound really bad, but my first thought was actually followed by a tweet by a guy that we both enjoy, Hotep Jesus.
Hotep, my man.
Shut up and dribble.
That's right. Hey, dude, shut up and dribble. And the memes that came out last week were hilarious on that.
The one where you superimpose LeBron's face. Oh, that was perfect.
Dude, he's just a commie from Akron.
Yeah, it was pretty disheartening to see the greatest basketball player of all time make such a horrible political stance.
Yeah, and Austin Peterson, a guy I follow, he ran for president for the Libertarian Party. He hosts a radio show. He posted a link from the Babylon Bee, which they be coming. I don't know who their writers are, but they can come up with some clever headlines and stories. And they said that Rosa Parks LeBron James said that Rosa Parks should have waited an additional week to start her protest, and that just made me laugh so hard because it came down to it. I mean, he just at the end of the day, man, he cowered, and I wish he would have said something because it would have given him a little bit of legitimacy, and instead he. And whoever coached him on how to respond to it, I mean, they had a week to think about how they were going to respond to that when they came back from China. And then to see his response be so just outlandish, it made me happy because I'm a LeBron hater.
I can still respect his game and dislike the person.
Yes, I'm on your team. I do love his game. I mean, he's an amazing basketball player. He is. I have nothing to say about that. But yes, the person, LeBron.
Well, the GOAT.
Do what?
The GOAT.
Hey, can you cut Poppy off this feed? Because I forgot that he thinks LeBron is better than Jordan. So if anybody.
Men lie, women lie, numbers don't lie.
That's right. Numbers don't lie. You are correct.
Yeah.
Okay, I have some facts for you guys for the Buckeyes Northwestern game I looked up earlier. Our all-time record against Northwestern is 62-14. So, like Poppy said, we should roll tonight. Here are some facts about Northwestern University, the nerds of the Midwest. They are the number 6 business school in America. They are the number 10 law school in America, and they're the number 1 nerd school in America.
Well, Mike Greenberg went there.
Mike Greenberg did go there, and if that says anything about Northwestern, I think anybody who doesn't know Mike Greenberg, he's a host on ESPN, and he's afraid of. Okay, Mike Greenberg eats his cheeseburgers with a fork and knife. That tells you what kind of people go to Northwestern.
It was pretty disheartening when him and Golick split up.
Yeah, they were They were gosh, they were on for what, 15 years, maybe 17 years. They were on for a while, and I used to listen to them, but eventually I stopped listening to them just because it got so watered. It just, I don't know, it wasn't amusing to me. But yeah, it was Mike and Mike, man. They were a big part of the morning drive for Americans for a couple decades.
Absolutely.
Northwestern spends $798.3 million a year on research.
Wow.
Yeah, those are grants from different companies and the government. And so I thought that was interesting. Just Northwestern spends that almost $1 billion a year on research.
Researching what?
Exactly. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure some good comes out of it, but Rand Paul has his thing he does every year at Christmas where he reads all the waste of government money as his airing of the grievances from Seinfeld. What's it called? Festivus. Yeah. And he reads it. He read it last year, and the government spent almost $2 billion researching whether or not hamsters could run on a treadmill and how long they could run.
Anytime someone tells me they do research for a living, my first thought is, so you just Google all day long? Because that's how I research.
Well, yes, and clearly, obviously, we need scientists to do research and but man, I think probably 90% of research could be cut down. Maybe medicine is probably the only thing that should be researched. Everything else, who cares? It's 2019. We don't remember what happened all that time. I don't know. I'm rambling. My bad. Okay. And some of the most famous people that went to Northwestern are Mike Greenberg, ESPN radio host, like Poppy mentioned earlier, Stephen Colbert, TV personality and late show host, and George R.R. Martin, the creator of Lord of the Rings.
No.
I was just making Poppy mad because Poppy is, I knew that would get a chuckle out of him. George R.R. Martin did Game of Thrones, which I am still proud to say I've never seen one episode, and whatever.
Man, my heart is getting broken in so many different ways tonight.
Did you like Game of Thrones?
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I don't know. Everybody said it was awesome, but they said the last season ruined it.
I liked the last season. I don't like the last episode, but I enjoyed the last season.
Okay, so where do you rank Game of Thrones as far as like top TV shows or series of all time?
Number 3.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I trust you. We have a pretty similar liking of comedies and dramas and fantasy and all those different things. So maybe I'll have to check it out. But I've also vowed to never watch it. So if I do, it'll be in secrecy and nobody will ever know.
So you've watched Friday Night Lights, and I feel like anyone that hasn't watched Friday Night Lights, for those of us that have you not watched it?
Oops. I watched one episode one time on accident.
Oh my gosh.
Is that a good show?
That's number 2. That's
oh,
the second greatest show of all time. So
okay.
I feel like what I'm about to do, for those that haven't seen Friday Night Lights, I always have to make an argument as to why it's so great. It's kind of the same thing with Game of Thrones. If you haven't seen it, you just got to check it out and find out why it's so good. But I guess that is a moot point right now because you've never seen Friday Night Lights.
Merle, have you seen Friday Night Lights?
I saw the movie. I haven't seen the series.
Oh,
okay. Well, didn't the movie have that guy from Touched by an Angel? It's hard for me to get on board with that guy. He was like a fake nurse / angel / small town Texas football coach.
You are so mean tonight, Nate.
I'm not mean, man. I'm just I'm excited for the Buckeyes, and I'm just
the fact being touched by an angel, but not Friday Night Lights.
Hey, man, that was that growing up like Thursday nights at 9, CBS primetime. Mom's making me do homework, and she's watching Touched by an Angel.
Made me watch Touched by an Angel because Touched by an Angel.
That's right. She used to watch Touched by an Angel, and she used to call Merle and ask him to pray. Okay, enough about Northwestern. And enough about sports. Let's do our quick. I didn't do a history thing this week because I just remembered until now. So
Good.
no history this week, everybody. Google it if you care. Okay, our polls from last week were this made me a little upset. Is there anything funnier than watching a grown man get in the back seat of a two-door car? And there's not. When you got to fold up that front seat and you watch a man get in the back and you can't, there's nothing funnier because half the time their pants are kind of falling down because it's America and their belt's a little weird. So you get a little bit of the crack, and then watching them just fold into the back seat and they just kind of like plop in because there's no good way to get in. And then watching the seat come back and like seal their fate. It's like, oh, you're not getting out if there's a fire. It's like being locked in a cage of leather.
I have a question about that because I was a little bit confused because not to call you out on your show.
Sure.
That question was a little bit similar to one you had a couple of weeks ago about a grown man chasing a bouncy ball.
Yeah.
Right. So I was a little bit torn, but I work at a car dealership and I can tell you there's nothing funnier than watching a grown man get into the backseat of a two-door car.
Yes, get out of a two-door car. Exactly. In and out, both. I would never, if I were to hang out with my two best friends and there was a two-door car and they said, hey, come hang out, but you got to sit in the back seat. I'm not going with you. I'll drive separately or I'll just stay where I'm at until I can get picked up.
I'd rather humiliating to sit on a grown man's lap in the front seat of a two-door car than to get into the back seat of a two-door car.
I kind of agree, but I kind of disagree because still you're in the front seat and it's more embarrassing. I feel like if you're the guy who's being sat on, like I'd rather sit on your lap in the front seat than you sit on my lap. But yeah, so 56% of the audience said there are funnier things, that is not the funniest thing. So kind of made me sad. But you know, not everybody's blessed with my sense of humor. So FYI, on future polls, when it involves humor, look how I vote and then just vote the same.
Good Lord.
And also Merle, you really kind of upset me on this.
Well, what's new?
Can you can you name 45 states and the capitals? And 53% of the audience said yes. And there was, I believe, around 20 some votes on that. But yeah, man, a lot of people can't name 45 out of the 50 states and then the capital.
It was a long time ago, man. It was a long time ago when I was, I've been out of school longer than you.
I know, man, but still, you can still you can't name 45 states.
Well, yeah, I can name the states, but I read that as 45 states and their capitals.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, no, I would bomb on the capitals.
Poppy, how about you? Did you vote on that one?
I could name 45 states, but not the capitals.
Great. 2/3 of our program are completely ridiculous. What?
That would be really, really difficult to name the capital of all 45 states.
That's right. Yeah.
I'll be there.
And Nate, so I'm curious. Nate says he thinks he could do it. So, Poppy, maybe we should challenge Nate to go ahead and start naming some states and their capitals right now, and let's see if he can go to 45.
I agree.
I mean, if you want to take the whole show doing that, I can. I'm gonna have to wonder, like think about things. But I mean, Kentucky, Lexington, Ohio, Columbus, Indiana, Indianapolis, Michigan, Detroit, Connecticut, Hartford, Maine, Augusta. Florida, Tallahassee, Georgia, Atlanta, South Carolina, Columbia, North Carolina. Oh, I'll come back to that one.
Wisconsin,
Madison, eat it, punk.
Montana,
Butte,
Ooh.
eat it. Oregon, Salem,
Delaware.
deal with it. Delaware. I don't know.
You blew it.
Give me the first letter.
I don't know. I'm asking you.
Oh, I thought you. Okay, never mind. Okay, well, Delaware, dude. Who cares about Delaware? It's like 2 blocks. Delaware couldn't even have a block party if they wanted to. They're not. They'd have to rent out the states on their border.
Maine. One more. Maine.
Maine. Oh, Augusta. That's easy.
You already said that. Okay, New Hampshire.
Yeah, duh. New Hampshire is. It sounds like maybe I don't know. Dover, Delaware. That's right. Let's see. First of all, I'm not on trial. I voted yes. So deal with it. California, Sacramento, South Dakota, Bismarck, North Dakota, Sioux Falls, maybe. Well, regardless, I can do it and you guys can't, so eat it. Okay, is pizza overrated? 82% of the audience said no. I voted yes, along with my former restaurant manager, who I trust when it comes to culinary expertise, Rochelle. Pizza is overrated, man. It gets too much praise.
You can literally eat pizza in every single style with every single food group. I'm confused.
Well, I can with every single. That doesn't make it right. Just because you can do something doesn't make it okay. I like pizza, dude. I just think it's overrated. When people are like, "Hey, we're gonna get some pizzas," man, I'd rather have a steak or a cheeseburger.
But you can have cheeseburger pizza. You can have steak on a pizza.
I don't want that. I don't want to shower while I'm doing the dishes just because I could do it. Like, don't combine things just because you can.
Well, I would prefer it if your bodily fluids weren't dripping onto the dishes. So I wouldn't say that's a very clean way to wash dishes.
A sanitary pizza?
Sanitary.
I'm not having.
He said you're not eating the right pizza.
That's not true because I love Marion's. I love Jets. I love Donato's. I don't know. What?
If Jets pizza, see, there's your problem right there. You're eating the wrong pizza. Jets.
You don't like Jets?
No.
I mean, I'm taking Marion's over anything, but I appreciate a good Jets pizza.
Oh, horrible.
New York Yankees 4, Houston 1, bottom of the second. Quick score update. Pizza is overrated. Me and Rochelle were right. Deal with it. Do you like going to haunted houses? Now, this is the first time this has ever happened in our poll, and it was a 50-50 split. It's never been done before. So, yeah, I voted no, man. I'm not a big fan of haunted houses. Poppy, your thoughts on the situation?
Absolutely. I love them. What's more fun than risking your life in terror?
I'm okay with risking my life in terror, but like robbing a bank or like trying to get away with a crime that's going to be worth it. Paying money to have somebody scare me. I think people have some issues, and that's how I phrased it on the poll. If you're disturbed, you like to be scared and pay somebody to do it.
Okay. So when you're 13 to 15, 13, maybe even to 16 years old, there's nothing more exciting than going to a haunted house with your girlfriend in the dark and try and get a little frisky.
I don't know, man. If you have to go to a cornfield and have people with masks make you get frisky with your girlfriend, I mean, just go to the movie or something. That's weird.
Haunted houses are fun, man. It always brings out the inner child in any grown adult. And it's fun. It's like an amusement park.
No. Amusement park, Kings Island. I'll go to Kings Island. That's fun. Ride roller coasters, amazing.
Oh gosh.
A haunted house is different. The one thing I do like about haunted houses is when I go with black people and they punch people in the face when they get scared. My favorite thing ever.
Racist.
Maybe a little bit, but it's also hilarious.
That's what I don't understand. You came here to get scared. Why are you getting upset because you're scared?
Exactly. That's why I don't go there. But I do like watching the people react that way. The videos on YouTube are just amazing. Any other thoughts on haunted houses? Okay, moving on. Let's see here. What do we got here? Okay. We have a couple of news stories that I thought were hilarious. ABC News, did you see this, Merle? They used some video footage from a Kentucky gun rage and said
Yes.
it was the war in Syria.
Yeah,
And
I put that up on the Facebook page.
Yes.
Yes.
And that made me laugh because it's just revealing the mask of the media, and that is one good thing about the internet is I get to see black people punching people at haunted houses, and I get to see the internet, or I get to see media be exposed.
So, but here's the scary part, Nate. That's the time we caught them.
Right. Yeah. There's a famous clip back in like 1992 on YouTube that you can look up, and CNN got caught. They said they were in the Gulf, over in the Gulf, reporting on the war, and the camera lights like fall from the ceiling in the studio, and like the background falls over, and you just see a guy like holding a camera, and it's like they go right back to the studio. So yes, who knows how long they've been doing this? But it just makes me laugh, and we here at Average Joe's will never tell you anything wrong. You are going to get 100% the truth, and we will not use any kind of gimmicks to give you fear mongering. Going back to our mongering word of the night.
Yeah, everything is 99% factual.
That's right, 99.9, son. Get it right.
Oh, get it
right. Oh, did you see this, Poppy? A Pee Wee football coach was given a $500 fine and a 2-game suspension because his team won by too many points.
I did not see that.
36-0, baby.
Yeah, so the coach got fined and given a suspension. And growing up, there was a saying in one of my favorite movies, The Mighty Ducks, and the coach of the Hawks used to say, "It ain't worth winning if you can't win big."
That's right.
So
hey, that's called a life lesson, right? Kind of like that picture we had last week where your brother was like, "Hey, candy corn or candy cream." Remember that picture we put up?
Candyland, yeah.
Candyland, that's it.
Yeah, when he put it, it's a lesson you need to learn. And if you don't want to get whooped that bad, then get better.
Try harder.
I don't know. I feel like if like it were my son's team that was winning, I'd be like, heck freaking yeah, man. But if it was my son's team that was losing, I'd be throwing bottles at him like, man, you guys suck.
Yeah, I'd be throwing bottles at him.
That's exactly what I do.
That's true. If my son was winning, I'd be talking so much smack to the other coach. And if my team was losing, I don't know. I'd do one of those things that they did in the movie Hoosiers. Like I'd pull off half the team, and he'd be like, "Nope, my team's on the field. Like everybody who's playing like a bunch of punks, get off."
You're out.
Did the coach know that there was like a limit to how many points he was allowed to go up?
I'm sure he did, and you know what? He didn't care. And props to that guy. You know what? I bet you it was. He like looked at the quarterback and he was like, "Hey, don't score here on the goal line, buddy." And the little kid was so excited to score, he cost his coach $500.
Well, it's like, how do you stop kids from scoring? It's like, dude, you tell a kid, "Hey, don't score." He's like, "Screw you, dude. I got the ball. I'm going out and knocking somebody out." So, since we're on the subject of football, can I ask you guys a question? How do you feel about women in the NFL?
As far as what, like cheerleaders? Just kidding, not sexist. I'm not sexist, I promise.
You're a horrible. No.
No, like the girl that everyone's saying needs to be a kicker in the NFL. Obviously.
Go ahead, Merle, take that real quick. I got to address the babysitting issue.
Oh, yeah, thanks. I appreciate that, Nate. Poppy. So, I mean, man, that's a hard one. I know if it was my daughter, I wouldn't want her playing. I mean, supposedly these are professionals, but the fact that they're putting their hands everywhere and grabbing things, I'm not a big fan of. But I mean, who am I to say that? I mean, if she's good enough, and she can make the team, why stop her, right? I mean, if she makes the team and tries out and makes it because she's better than the guy next to her, I say go for it.
So my question would be, is she going to have her own locker room? I mean, she's going to have a pretty lonely locker room if she's got her own locker room. Or is she going to share a locker room with the other 111 or 110 football players? That's going to be really awkward.
Yeah.
And also, that will be a lot of, I feel, sexual headlines.
Yeah, I feel like you're begging for a lawsuit there. And yes, like Poppy said, now I'm okay with it. I'm not do whatever. But if you get your field goal kick blocked and then Ndamukong Suh picks you up and throws you in the third row, I don't want to hear about how it's not fair and you can't do that and you need to be. I don't know. I just think when it comes to sports and it's amateurism, co-ed. I love co-ed softball, co-ed soccer. It's the best. Hanging out, having camaraderie. But I feel like at a professional level, you're asking for problems there. And I don't know. Yeah. No. I'm not for it.
I don't think
I'm against it.
Yeah.
So we have here's a hilarious stat, and Poppy might laugh at this because we've had a history of making fun of our friends for this. But the CEO of Sallie Mae, who does college loans, he flew 100 of his top employees to Hawaii to celebrate their $5 billion year in profits. The student debt right now is 1.6 trillion. So, the student debt is $1.6 trillion, and Sallie Mae is celebrating all of this money. Now, Merle, I don't know what you think about this. I kind of have Poppy's idea on student debt and this whole, pegging it as a national crisis. But Merle, what do you think about this? And then we'll go to Pop.
Okay, well, it's funny that you brought that up. I was talking to one of the interns that I work with today, and she was talking about her student loans, and I guess she's got a couple from the government, and then she's got a couple private student loans, and she was complaining about her government student loans because the strings that are attached with those, and when you start reading the fine print, I think she told me the majority of the student loans that she received from the government have a higher interest rate than those that she received from a private banking institute. And so I thought that was interesting. So, I mean, when you take out the loan, you're 18 years old, right? And you're going to go to school and achieve all this great things. And you don't read the fine print. I mean, bad on you, but yeah, that's kind of disturbing. I mean, especially, when you start talking about, when the government gets involved, because I was disturbed because the government really shouldn't be in the business of making money, right? I mean, they're taking our money and loaning it to people and making even much more money. And the big thing about it is she was telling me she was reading some articles where, and I forget which institute in the government monitors this, but it's kind of like Rand Paul when he talks about, going and auditing the Federal Reserve. I guess there was an article she was telling me about that, they were talking about auditing this agency, right, that oversees these government loans. And it's just, no, they didn't want to do it. Congress was against it. So then I got to ask myself, these kids are paying astronomical percentages on this loan. The government's making money. What are they doing with all that money?
Right. It's super, super duper shady. That's okay, Mom. Welcome to the show. We started early for the Buckeyes game. Yeah, man, like you just said, the Federal Reserve and these different agencies loaning this money out with these huge interest rates. And then you're asking kids, and let's be honest, when you're in college, you're still a kid, and you graduate and you're coming out with all this massive debt, and you're going to be working a job to where you're not going to pay. It's going to be hard to find a job paying high enough to where you can pay it back in a reasonable amount of time. And it does. It sucks. I have some friends who are dealing with it, and but I still don't think that it's the taxpayer's job to help solve the national debt crisis. I don't think that is reasonable because I didn't take out thousands of dollars in loans. And me and Poppy have talked about this, hey, okay, well, you need to pay off my mortgage because I didn't understand it was a flex interest rate. And now I wasn't ready for that. So now it's my neighbor's job to pay for my house. Pop, what is your opinion on Sallie Mae flexing hard and going to Hawaii on the back of poor students?
I mean, to be honest, it's kind of hard for me. It's like they created a company and a business and they made money. Good for them. It's just unfortunate. It's kind of like on the moral standpoint, you kind of took advantage of a lot of people that were just trying to better themselves. But there's a lot of punishment for the person that took out the debt, but no punishment for the company that gave them the loan. It's kind of a drug dealer would get punished just as hard as the person that uses the drugs, but in this situation, the person gets punished for taking out such a massive amount of student loans, but the company that's like, yeah, I'll give it to you. It's like, hey, let's go party it up, guys. It's pretty
right. That's the weird thing is these companies just give these people all this money and then expect them to spend it wisely. And I've met a few people I work with and just in life and friends and stuff, and they get that money and it's like, oh, well, I went and took a mini vacation, or I did this, I did that, and it's like, okay, well, that's fine, but I'm sorry, I don't. It's not that I don't feel bad, but I can't solve that. I think it's hilarious, and the CEO is gangster for doing this. That's one of the things about capitalism. Sometimes, like Poppy said, there's kind of a moral conundrum maybe where, yeah, I'm allowed to make some money. Obviously, I'm not mad at anybody for securing the bag. But at the end of the day, man, you're really impacting a lot of people in their future, and you're making it very hard for them to be successful in an already hard to succeed world. So, but yeah, shout out Sally Mae for being jerks.
I mean, is it really? Who's to say how much money you're allowed to make, though, right? I mean, if I buy a pair of shoes for $20 off of a third party vendor, but then I go back and sell them for $200 because they're a pair of Jordans, like super rare Jordans, am I a jerk for trying to make extra profit? Or
No, you're not a jerk at all. What you are is exploiting childhood labor.
Well, LeBron has no problem with that.
That's right, son.
So, I mean, really, in their defense, right? They're taking a risk, right? So with great risk comes great reward. So they're taking a risk by giving you money in the hopes that you're going to pay it back. So, I mean, I'm with Poppy. It's that's capitalism, right? At its finest. And, it's just too bad that, we can't, big companies like that can't put some morality into it and, try to show people that, okay, maybe it's not always about, the excessive amount of money, because, how much is enough, right? I mean,
you can never have enough.
Can never have enough of those greenbacks.
Yes, and for you to put the CEO of Sally Mae on the same pedestal of William Wallace, saying without great risk, there's no great reward, dude. Come on, man. There's no risk for them. The government will bail them out just like they did the banks and the auto industry. Okay. So this is a local kind of a public announcement. I saw this on Facebook earlier, and I thought it was very relevant to our show. Thomas Farms Deer Processing Plant has stopped taking white-tailed deer until further notice because they're overcharged. They're overwhelmed with processing meat. So Thomas Farms Deer Farm is no longer taking deer. If that affects you, I don't know. I just thought it was a great announcement. Don't bring us any more deer carcasses. We're overloaded.
I don't like deer, so.
Oh man, I love eating deer. It's delicious. Some venison, some jerky.
Oh yeah, deer jerky.
No, look, we both gave him the white guy.
Yeah, the white guy.
You can literally tell someone where someone grew up by what they eat. If you're like, man, I love me some pig ears and some pig feet, some hog maws, you're like, man, that dude grew up in the hood. You're like, man, you give me some squirrel and some deer.
That's right. Dude, I love me some squirrel and deer. Oh, that's where you grew up. Okay. Andrew Yang, Democratic presidential hopeful. He has, and he's still going on if you're curious. He's on Twitter right now. He's been on there for 10 hours straight answering questions from United States citizens. So, Pop, what do you think about Andrew Yang? I'm not against him. I think he has a lot of good ideas. Some of his ideas, I think, are more of a hope rather than an actual he's the presidential candidate who wants to give everybody $1,000 a month. And my thing is just, how about you just get rid of the income tax for people who work? Because that's basically what you're doing. So, but he's a businessman. He's a young guy. He's got some good ideas. So Pop, what is your thought on Andrew Yang?
I think kind of like what you just said. He's got a lot of ideas, but no real way to back it. I mean, he's got no outline to do what he says he wants to do. It's kind of like he's just saying what he thinks would sound good to Americans, but it's like, well, you've got no real plan to accomplish that. So.
Yeah, so the way his plan works is he wants to give every American, it's called the freedom dividend, which is super banky. He wants to give every American $1,000 a month, and it's either that or welfare. You can't get both. So if you're already receiving assistance from the government, you can't get the $1,000 a month. But he wants to give that $1,000 a month to the working American citizen because he thinks that would help. And I think it would. I think if you're already working and the government wants to give you back more of the money they stole from you, I'm okay with that. But yeah, just the way that you're going to roll it out, it doesn't, I don't know. It's just kind of, hey, it sounds good on paper and it sounds good as an idea, but will it actually come to fruition, and how will that affect different ways of society? I don't know. But he brings up some good points with automation, and, the world is changing. People are making, millions of dollars on YouTube, and people are making, the world is just changing as far as manufacturing to technology and so forth. So, he brings up some valid points as far as in 10 years, what are the truckers going to do when all the cars are automated? And we're going to have a lot of Americans who are out of work or trying to get degrees on, Merle, it's probably hard for a 50-year-old trucker who's been driving a truck his whole life to just all of a sudden go back to school and learn to become an electrician or a plumber or whatever it may be. So, but yeah, Andrew Yang, shout out him, because he's one of the few candidates who are actually kind of not, I don't want to say young and hip because that makes me sound stupid. But he's using Twitter and he's using these different social media platforms to reach out to voters and to educate people, and kind of just where he's coming from. So unlike, some of the old garb, they don't really do that. It's just they wait for CBS and ABC debates and they spew their talking points and whatever. So shout out Andrew Yang.
Well,
my thought,
it's kind of like a bad never-ending circle. You pay to the working person, you give them $1,000 every single month, so then they're just basically getting their taxes back. So
right.
And then the tax return at the beginning of the year, what happens with that? Do they still get that?
Right. I see. Those are some of the things where when he's been asked these questions, he's saying, well, I'm going to hire the smartest people in America and we're going to figure that out and we're going to get all the details. And it's like, dude, you know how bad it is, how slow the government works. And if you win the presidency, I bet you it would be like 3.5 years, and then like people would get their first payment because it would take that long for Congress to pass any kind of laws or whatever. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I, for one, don't think that they'll let him win the nomination because he's a guy with new ideas and thinks the government's the worst. So that's not what they want. They want someone like Elizabeth Warren or Bernie or Kamala the Cop Harris. And so which leads me into my next kind of final point, and we'll kind of wrap it down with this. My girl Tulsi Gabbard clapped back on Hillary, the worst Clinton. So Hillary today said that Tulsi Gabbard was a Russian asset and that she was a Assad apologist, and that she could no longer be counted and like trusted. Now this is a congresswoman who's a veteran who I really like. She's a young person who has some new ideas, and she is not one of these people who she'd rather talk about her ideas rather than talk about Donald Trump's bad ideas. So rather than attacking the opponent, she's kind of just promoting herself. But yeah, she hit Hillary Clinton, calling her the queen of warmongers, and that she was a problem with the Democratic Party, and said that she called Hillary out to jump back in the race so that she can expose her online or on the stage on the next debate, which I thought is hilarious. She's telling Hillary, jump back in. So please come up on a stage so I can tell the whole world the dirt that you've done. Please, I'm asking you. So I don't know. My girl Tulsi getting going at the Clintons, which I think we need to put a what's it called, a security watch on Tulsi, because Epstein's about to. He caught those hands, and
Yeah.
if Tulsi shows up missing, we got to keep her alive. She's out here exposing Hillary, so help Tulsi and watch her back.
Right, because she might end up shooting herself in the head 2 times, commit suicide. So
right in the back of the head with a shotgun.
In the back of her head with a shotgun, two times.
Right.
My favorite line of her tweet is she said, "She's the embodiment of corruption and the personification of the rot that has sickened the Democratic Party for so long."
Oh, that sounds like a nasty Eminem line, son. You are the rot. Oh my gosh, that's so good. You know what? We're gonna have to. I'm gonna have to get Tulsi on here. She's gonna join us for an episode one day, maybe for 5 minutes if I can sneak her in. So let's see. Any other? Okay. Ohio is trying to pass a law saying that that school times cannot start before 8:30 a.m. What do you think about that, Merle? You're already shaking your head and you're about ready to explode.
Well, I mean, I work with a single mother who has a young kid, and school for him right now starts at 9. Well, core business hours are 9 to 5, where she's expected to be at work from 9 to 5. So, I think, people start talking about these things and they don't understand the impact that it has on people like that. I mean, so she has to really struggle to figure out how to be at work during these core business hours, but yet still get her kid to school, because her kid doesn't ride a bus. He needs to be taken to school. So, I mean, and I'm so sick and tired about, all these people jumping on board like, oh, the high school kids need all this sleep. No, my 12-year-old has to get up at like 6 o'clock in the morning, sorry, suck it up, so senior. I mean, you're getting ready to walk into real life. So I think you can handle getting up early and letting the younger kids sleep in, but it's ridiculous to say you can't start school until, that late. Totally ridiculous in my opinion, because they're not thinking about the parents at all.
Okay, Poppy, your response to that. You got a couple of little ones. Your son is just kind of getting into the school phase. Your little baby girl will soon be there. What are your thoughts on not being able to start school before 8:30? Do you think that government schools should be able to start when they want?
I see both sides of it. Obviously, I completely understand what Merle is saying, but at the same time, so my son, he's very athletic. He plays basketball, soccer, baseball. He plays all these things. Now, obviously, that's our choice to put him in those things. But if he had to start school at 7:30 or 8 o'clock and come home and do homework and then get ready for soccer practice and then come home and shower and if he'll be 8 years old in December, that's very difficult for someone his age. High school kids, that's a different story. But for elementary school kids, I understand the 8:30 timeline. I mean, my son's school starts at 8:30. But if it were any earlier, it could be very, very difficult on him. But I also understand it's not a convenient time for parents, especially those that are actually working parents. It's tough, man. Again, for elementary, I understand it. For high school, yeah, I'd say suck it up.
Yeah, I think that high school should start at 8 and elementary should start at 8:39. I think that makes sense. And my daughter Carson, she's a senior. And for the last couple of years, I've just been astonished at, she does lacrosse and she does band and then she goes home and she has to stay up until 11:30 doing homework. And now those are all honors classes. And I told her that's what you get for trying to be smart.
Right.
But she, it is a lot to put on their plate. But like you said, they're about to hit the real world. And I don't know. I just don't think that the government should pass more laws. Stop.
Right.
Leave it the way it is and just shut up. Because schools right now are allowed to start whenever they want, right?
They want to. Right. Yeah. Well, how about this? Fire some administrators, get some more buses and bus drivers, and they all start school at 8:30.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot. We had that big argument last week where
Right.
you know each school has 12 to 15 principals,
Right.
and you know you got bus drivers getting up at 4:30, driving
Mhm.
for 2.5 hours trying to pick up kids. You got
Right.
kids standing, you know the kind of getting darker earlier and dark light earlier. Hope I said that right. Oops. But driving home, I work third shift, and driving home in the morning, man, I leave work and I will. You know, I see these kids out here on the bus stop, and it's still like pitch black, and you've got a couple of like 10-year-old kids just standing on the bus corner, and I'm like, man, it's kind of cold and early to be out here. But I don't know. I remember doing that as a kid, but just because we've done something the same way forever doesn't make it right. So, but yes, just government. Don't pass any more bills. You're the worst. Okay, so that's kind of our episode of the day. It was kind of unorganized, and but we hope you enjoyed it. Poppy, give me some final thoughts.
Average Joe's needs 50 million followers.
Yes.
Hey, so just so you know, I don't know if you ever go looking at the stats, but I mean, sometimes we've got a few posts that have went like viral, and it's been like over 10,000 shares. So,
oh wow, I didn't know that. I don't know how to look at
Yep.
the stats because I'm not
Yeah.
LeBron.
yeah.
Okay, so let me. I'll give you my final thought. Black people don't only vote Democrat, and white people don't only vote Republican.
There you go, Poppy. And you know what? I'm glad you said that because next time you can join us, I want to kind of dive deeper into that. Just kind of stereotypes in general, and how people, how stereotypes form and how they're projected on people. Because forever, that's how I thought black folks only vote Democrat. And then the first time I saw a black dude, like, I love George W., I was like, wait, what? And I was like, okay, cool. So, but yeah, we'll get into that next time you're able to join us and kind of dive into the world of stereotypes. We'll swan dive into stereos, dads.
I've got a lot of opinions on that. That will make a lot of people angry.
Well, there you go, son. We might get our first Facebook. What's it called? A strike where we say,
Strike.
Yeah, we'll get Poppy's gonna come up swinging for the fences.
Yeah, let's offend somebody.
And I've been listening to a lot of Hotep.
Yes, son. Hotep been told you, baby. Let's go. All right. Well, thanks for joining us. Go Buckeyes, and we will see you next week. Back to our kind of back to our normal 9:00 time. And again, thank you, Poppy, for joining us. And Merle, you're the best.
Peace.
Thanks for having me, guys.
Yep. See you, everybody. You're the best. Okay, quick after show.
It's after show. That's the best part. The after show.
Mary's friend was having a sleepover, and he's apparently have a headache, and I got to take him home. So that's kind of like my little dilemma I've been doing for the last 35 minutes is sorting that situation out.
Did you say him?
Yes.
Man, that's so progressive. Look at you.
What do you mean?
A him?
Yes, but his pronouns are Z and Zer, so deal with it.
How old is Mary?
She's 8.
So my daughter's 1. She's allowed 5 male friends.
Well, you know,
my son, the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit.
Praise the Lord, son.
That's it.
You know, she's her and Blake, they've known each other since the day they were born. They used to be our old neighbors. So they've grown up together. But now that you say that, I'm going to put a mirror up from here so I can look into her bedroom and kind of see what's going on.
Right. So hey, did you see that video I posted about the kid who was in the band?
The white guy rocking with the blacks? Yes, son, I loved it.
This is how. So my coworker showed me this, and she in the headline was something about I forget, it was an acronym, HBCU.
HBCU. I don't know. Poppy, are you hip?
Historically black.
No, historically black colleges.
I don't know.
University college. I mean, and I so yeah, I like was Googling that, and I'm like, there's this whole thing. And a matter of fact, I don't think it was Gabby, but what's the guy's name you were talking about before?
Yang.
I mean, Yang. He had something about doing something with historically black university and colleges. But I mean, the kid was rocking it. I gotta say, I mean, the kid was rocking it.
He was. Yeah. I got upset because I have no rhythm. I'm not a dancer. It makes me sad. I wish I was. I wish I could be cool. But I don't. So I saw him in a little bit. I stopped watching the video like after like 15 seconds. And I was like, whatever, this guy sucks. Just because he was an awesome dancer and he had rhythm.
Where he failed. Go back and watch it. Here's where he failed, right? He's doing great. But dude has like a man bun, and it's not really a full bun. It's like the start of a man bun. I think that's where I'm like, okay, lost a lot of cool points there.
Well, maybe. I'm not a fan of man buns, especially premature man buns. But speaking of, we can keep with the historically black colleges. Did you guys see Kanye at Howard University this last week?
No.
So Kanye was at Howard University, and he was basically preaching at the kids. And he was out there doing his Sunday service, and he was just dropping truth bombs all over him. And I don't know, it's kind of weird that you see I think the media is a little bit biased. And when you see someone like Kanye come out in support of the president, and then it was funny to watch them demonize him so quickly and tell everybody that he's mentally ill and that he's not well, and just everything about Kanye. But he's out here. He's out here in the streets, as they say. He's actually on the ground, talking to kids and talking to people. And I like his message. He was out there. He was hitting them with some scripture and telling them about, the love of Jesus and all that. So it's kind of weird seeing Kanye, going from where he's been to where he is and watching that, his journey. It's just interesting. And, it could all be a marketing ploy because the dude is a genius. But there's something genuine about him, and I thought that was pretty cool.
I'm not a fan of black colleges or Kanye telling me how to praise Jesus or where I should stand politically.
Well, I don't think Kanye told you how to praise Jesus. I think he was just saying that, first of all, I'm a white guy going against a black guy. This doesn't count. So this doesn't work out for me in the end.
No.
But Poppy's always been a hater of Kanye and Michael Jordan and greatness in general.
That's not true. Kanye is one of like LeBron, one of my favorite basketball players. Kanye is one of my favorite rappers of all time, top 3 favorite. But again, like I don't like LeBron personal views on things. I don't like Kanye's views on things. I think I wouldn't want Kanye being the model for my political stance, and I also wouldn't want him being the model on my religious stance.
Right. It's kind of funny. Me and Poppy have a couple friends of the Caucasian side of things, and I think it's funny when as soon as Kanye kind of came out for Donald Trump, all of my Republican friends were just like, "Oh my gosh, this is the greatest, coolest thing that's ever going to happen in our lives," and kind of like what Poppy just said. Hey man, just make me some sick beats, give me some great lyrics, and shut up and mix. But I don't know.
Back and forth, right? He's in 1 second he loved Donald Trump, and then the next second he was like, "No, I don't actually love him. I'm just telling people that they should give him a chance." And then he's come back out and was like, "Yeah, I love Donald Trump." It's like, wait,
right. So maybe he, like you just said, it might be a marketing thing, or maybe he is a little bit just out there. But I can't speak to, like LeBron and Kanye. The fact that these guys have been under scrutiny, under a microscope for the last 15, 20 years of their lives. I'm sure it's hard to do anything without being overanalyzed. But shout out Ye.
Have him on the show.
That's right.
That's right. I'm gonna get Kanye on.
Yeah,
I'm gonna have him do our intro instead of Marcus because Kanye could probably do it way better. All right, Merle.
All right, fellas.
What are you doing the rest of the weekend? Dude, don't rush us out of here. We got a couple more minutes.
Oh yeah. Well, so next week I leave for Maui on Saturday. So I will not be
Sally
around.
Mae. I didn't know that you were going to celebrate the student debt.
No, I've got to go run an exercise over there. So
okay, so Merle's going to be traveling to the South Pacific.
South Pacific. It's like my third or fourth time. Sucks.
To Hawaii?
Mm-hmm.
That's
Maui.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I've never been there. You're so lucky.
Look, if you're gonna go,
speaking of states and capitals,
yeah,
but that's Honolulu, right?
Is it
Honolulu? Yes, it is. Maui is not the capital. All right, so you're going to Hawaii, Poppy. What do you got for the rest of the weekend?
Nothing, man. Hanging out with family stuff, working, family stuff, the usual.
That makes me so sad.
I love it. I mean, my family is my favorite thing. So
what are you doing? Although your kid will yell at you soon. I'm sure your son does, but I don't know, dude. When you have a daughter, dude, you're just used to like this little beautiful princess, and then dude, what are you doing, Inception? Get out of here. Can you put a Snapchat puppy dog filter on Poppy? Okay, so join us again next week. Shout out Merle, shout out Poppy, thank you, and you guys are the best. Go Buckeyes. OH.
IO, thanks for having me on, guys.
All right, see you guys.
See ya.
Really?